there we are at the dawn of this radical transformation of humans that by its very nature as a truly complex and emergent innovation, nobody on earth can predict what's going to happen. We're on the event horizon of something. And the problem is, we can talk about the obvious disruptions, the job disruption, and that's going to be massive. And does that lead some group of elites to decide, oh, well, suddenly we have a lot of useless eaters, and what are we going to do about that? Because that conversation tends to lead somewhere very dark very quickly. But I think that's just the beginning of the various ways in which this could go wrong without the doomer scenarios coming into play. This is an uncontrolled experiment in which all of humanity is downstream.
Yeah, so I was trying to make the point that OpenAI has been sort of wrong about the sort of how big of a potential for harm it is. Like, I think we would have heard about it in the news, like the sort of how much harm it's done. And maybe, some of it is working in the shadows, but like the few incidents that we've heard about where, the cause of LLMs, large language models, the technology that's powering ChatGPT, has been huge headliners. Like New York Times talked about this kid that was, perhaps goaded by some kind of chat software that, helps teenagers to be less lonely into suicide, which is tragic. And obviously, these are the kind of safety and abuse issues that we want to worry about. But these are kind of these isolated incidents. And we do have open source large language models. Obviously, the thing that everyone talks about is DeepSeek. DeepSeek is coming from China. So what is DeepSeek's incentive? Perhaps the incentive is to destroy the AI industry in the US. When they released DeepSeek, the market tanked. The market for NVIDIA, the market for AI, and all of that. But there is an incentive to open source. Meta is open sourcing Llama. Llama is another AI similar to ChatGPT. The reason they're open sourcing Llama, and Zuckerberg just says that out loud, is basically they don't want to be beholden to OpenAI. They don't sell AI as a service. They use it to build products. And there's this concept in business called commoditize your complement. Because you need AI as a technology to run your service, the best strategy to do is to open source it. So these market forces are going to create conditions that I think are actually beneficial. So I'll give you a few examples. One is, first of all, the AI companies are motivated to create AI that is safe so that they can sell it. Second, there are security companies investing in AIs that allows them to protect from the sort of malicious acting of AI. And so you have the free market, and we've always had that, But generally, as humanity, we've been able to leverage the same technology to protect against the the abuse.
So I don't really understand this, and maybe this is the exact discussion that you would expect between somebody at the frontier of the highly complicated, staring at a complex system, and a biologist who comes from the land of the complex and is looking back at highly complicated systems. In game theory, we have something called a collective action problem. Mm-hmm. And in the market that you're describing, an individual company has no capacity to hold back the abuses of AI. The most you can do is not participate in them. You can't stop other people from programming LLMs in some dangerous way. And you can limit your own ability to earn based on your own limitations of what you're willing to do. And then effectively what happens is the technology gets invented anyway. It's just that the dollars end up in somebody else's pocket. So the incentive is not to restrain yourself so that you can at least compete and participate in the market that's going to be opened. And so the number of ways in which you can abuse this technology, let's take a couple.